are you doing?
Hey Bruce, how are you?
Great.
Glad, happy to have you here today.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool to meet you. Um, our singer is sick. He was going to be on with me, and drummer works at night. I'm not sure about Matt, so we can probably just get going.
Oh, that's totally fine with me, yo, Bruce. No problem at all. I'm
Okay.
happy to have you. So, how was your day so far?
Pretty good. Busy, busy. I work from home, so you know, I work more at home than I would in an office because you have people distracting you in an office and you have your commute. So me, I get up early and I just start working and it's a long day.
Good, Bruce. So, Bruce, your new EP, Rated Again, was out back in August. So, would you like to tell me a bit on the songwriting and production behind this new EP?
Yeah, the songwriting is some of the songs go all the way back to like not even 81, they go back to 1980. I would say Angel was the first song that we wrote that really had metal teeth. We were kind of a hard rock band. Boston has a certain vibe. Um, you know, Everyone back then sounded like Aerosmith because they're from Boston, right? So yeah, we started to get into metal and we wrote Angel in like 80, 81, and then Victim right afterwards. And as we started to mature a little bit more as writers, we wrote, I think, Within the Wine next, and then Who Cracked the Egg, and then Joe Schmo, which is on the album, is the last song that we actually wrote or even performed live as a band. It was like our last show was the last song, and then um, one of my old drummers from another project said, "Listen, we have to re-record Angel and Victim. I really want to do those songs." I was a little younger than you guys when you were in BF Raid. He was with me in a band afterwards. He goes, "I always loved them." And I called the old singer and, we got together when we did them. And as we were heading into the studio, I was like, well, I have this other song, Hollywood with Snakes. No, we're just going to do those songs. And then they heard it. And then we were doing the Hollywood with Snakes. And then on the 11th hour, I actually wrote Becky.
Hmm.
Um, and we added that. So it was an interesting process writing because like I've been in so many bands over the years, and a lot of times when I wrote songs, I would always have Billy in mind because that was the singer that I worked with that I love working with. And no singer could really fit those shoes. And when I wrote Becky, I was thinking Bill. And it just fits him perfectly. And he loved the song when I brought it to the band, and it just worked out.
Fantastic, fantastic. And since all these songs that just starts way back from the 80s till now, so was there any particular concept or is just a bunch of songs that you wrote over the years?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because we have our earlier metal songs that a lot of people say sound a bit like early Iron Maiden.
Hmm.
Then we start to get a little bit more progressive with Within the Wine and Who Cracked the Egg. And then Hollywood with Snakes, I actually wrote when I was in a hardcore band. So I was in a post-hardcore band
Hmm.
um, after Be Afraid. And I wrote that. It sounds totally different than with the hardcore band. And then Becky was recently written, but it actually is reflective of those BFRA days and what was going on dating in the 80s and stuff. So I don't know if there's like a theme that draws a thread, but we like to write and pull on our experiences, which is key. And it's very different at this age than that age.
Yeah.
Because when I was 20, I was writing about women and partying and drinking and having fun. And, now my life is like, well, I can't write a song about going to shop for patio furniture with my girlfriend because that's not exciting, right? So there's not as much, I would say,
Mm.
turbulence in my life anymore, but we'll put on different things. We're doing a new album, and there's some interesting songs in the new album. There's one song about Wyatt Earp and the Old West. It's another about a true crime thing that I saw. And then there's yet another that is reflective of those BFRA days and really has that vibe of the early stuff. So it's going to be, I think the next album is going to be very interesting.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I really had the pleasure to listen to the entire EP of Rated Again. I have to say it's a fantastic album as a whole, like the vocals, the musicianship, the rawness of the music, and having the vintage sound from the early days. So it all sounds beautifully and a pleasure to the ears, I have to say. So bringing back the good old days back into the scene. So thanks so much for the awesomeness and giving us this awesome album Rated Again. And as a band, how do you guys feel about Rated Again?
We love it, but keep in mind that we're musicians. So if you play 1,000 notes, you're going to fixate on that note that you played wrong. And I know it's kind of funny. I know everything that I played wrong on the album, and we're humans. You're going to make mistakes, and you just have to embrace them. But I was in the truck with Billy, and he's driving. He's like, I forgot which song it was, and he goes, "Oh," he goes, "This drives me crazy. I made a mistake here." And I go, "You sound great." And then he got really myopic. He goes, "Listen, I kind of cut the word. I didn't pronounce it fully." And I'm like, I never noticed that until you pointed it out. So it's like we don't even notice each other's mistakes, but some of the stuff that we did, it just gets in your head as a musician. You always want to do something and change something. But overall, we're thrilled. We're really happy with it. And the response has been awesome. The funny response is kind of like you said, it's some of the younger fans that are coming forward. They're like, oh, you guys are doing like a retro thing. And it's like, no, that's what we sound like. That's what we write like. It's, Becky was written in probably July, so it's like, no, it's not. And it wasn't like we said, hey, let's get that old sound. It's those riffs that we like to play, and it's how we interact with each other. So, yeah, it's fun.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you guys are known for touring, so are there any big plans for 2025?
Yeah, so it's the band was started mostly as a studio project to do those original two demos, and it started to grow. And it was a funny thing. It was just once we got into the studio, we were loving it. And it was like, okay, we just got a phenomenal engineer named Jamie Rowe. We love him. He really brought the band's sound out. And we love working with him. We love the studio we work in. And we love each other, I guess, we love working together. So yeah, we're working on that other album, and we're gonna push it. I think this is gonna be like 10 songs.
Mm.
And the cool thing is Billy has brought some songs to the table. There's only really one throwback song. There's a song that Billy used to do with his old band called Daddy's So Hurt that was written in the 80s. And then there's another song that I wrote right as BF-RaidBoston was breaking up. And the old drummer heard it, but no one else in the band had heard it yet. So this will be new to people's ears. Like Billy had never heard it.
Mm.
Once again, I wrote it with Billy in mind, right? He was my singer at the time, and I brought it to the table like a month ago, and he just starts singing it because it's just the meter, the melody, the rhythm of the song. Lyrically, it's built for Bill, and he Went through it once, kind of slow, played it again for him, and he was just nailing it, you know. And it's this was a little different. It's mm, I would say it's heavy, but it's got a bluesy type of thing. I would say it sounds like maybe, and I hate to pull references, but I would say it sounds kind of like if Led Zeppelin and Judas Priest had a baby.
Mm.
So it has slide in it, but it's a lot heavier than a Zeppelin tune, but it has that bluesy influence. So people like to be able to say this sounds like this, or this reminds me of that. And I would say we'll definitely get that kind of reaction from people.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Be Afraid, history goes way back to 1980, and now it's 44 years of existence. So, how do you guys feel about the road that you have traveled so far?
It's been interesting. It really has. When I left Be Afraid, I joined another band called Ill Wind
Mm.
with our drummer Jamie. And he was just like this skinny kid, and he knocked on my door and he said, you want to play guitar for my band? And I'm looking at him, I'm like, he thought I was going to slam the door on him, because I had been playing on BF Raid and some other bands and had kind of a reputation in town. And I said, yeah, I'll jam with you.
Mm.
And we had that band. And then after that, I did some studio work, went to Berkeley. Billy played in a bunch of bands. Jamie played in a very successful band in Boston called Tribal Wisdom.
Mm.
And then we went off and had kids, college, things of that nature, careers. And now we're at this point in our life where it's like, the wives and girlfriends are like, get out of the house, make some music, you drive me crazy. And we just have a blast doing it. We love doing it.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I know there has been a lot of great moments over the years, but would you like to share some of the special moments that you that came come across?
There's been special moments. I mean, you look at little things like the first time I heard our songs on the radio or first gig or things of that nature, but they weren't really, wasn't the special moments. It was like the crazy, insane moments.
Mm.
Um, because we just did whatever we wanted to do. We weren't vicious kids, or we weren't trying to do anything bad, or weren't trying to impress people. We just did whatever we wanted to do. There was like no governor there. And then like our road crew was worse than we were. Um, and then we had management, um, gentleman named Harry Wallace, another guy named John Mandel. And Harry was the head of the road crew, and he was even the wildest. So the memorable moments, I mean, we got thrown out of Boston College. We had a radio interview
Mm.
because our roadies got into a fire extinguisher fight in the hallway. But we were like, 19 years old, right? We were kids and we had a fire extinguisher fight. We didn't think it was wrong, but they were like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here. Uh, had an interview earlier in that day, and we were quite intoxicated by the time we got to the radio station. So it was just like wildness. It was like wherever we played, we'd leave our mark.
Mm.
I I walked into a club 6 months after we had played there once, and I went to hand the doorman my ID, and he said, "You don't need an ID." It's like, why? He said, after the show your band put on, he goes, "I remember you." And I was laughing because I thought we were like banned from the club. I mean, we were just I jumped on a table and accidentally kicked a pitcher of beer. I didn't mean to, but when I jumped on the table, my foot hit the beer. Pitcher of beer goes flying again across the club, hits a woman. She's covered in beer. She's screaming. We just continue to play. And just like it was just mayhem whenever we played a club, and the music was cool and it was loud, but people were like coming to see this like car accident of a show. Like they were like, it's be afraid something's gonna happen there. You know, these guys are nitwits. They're gonna do something stupid. And it wasn't like we planned, like, let's do it for the show. It's just the way we were. We're just boisterous guys.
Mhm. Thanks so much for sharing all these great moments, Bruce. And Bruce, I know you said earlier that you are also working on your new album. So do you have a planned release date or something for this new album?
I just started talking to the engineer a little bit. So we have December, we're going to take some time off. And I would say we have about 7 songs down now, writing some others. So I'm thinking we keep going back and forth. We're thinking spring of next year. I'd like to get into the studio around February. So March, April. I think April, May would be the latest for the release. But there's some stuff on there that's really cool. Um, we have one song called What You Crave, which if someone listened to it, they'd say, okay, this reminds me of Who Cracked the Egg. It has that slow, Sabbathy kind of vibe, but it's actually written around a raga scale called the Todi. And yeah, when people hear the song, they'd be like, okay, it sounds like Sabbath. But if anyone knew anything about ragas, they would say, okay, now that you mentioned it, yeah, I can hear it. And the whole song is written around that scale. So we do a lot of things with exotic scales, um, Japanese scales, water scales, and things of that nature to try to give you that little difference in the music.
Mm.
So people hear our music, they're like, I hear it a lot. They'll say, wow, it's a metal band, but I'm hearing something a little different. I don't know what it is. So yeah, the new album should be really cool. We have some interesting songs. We another song called Bullets from the Board, and it's probably our most progressive song to date. It's really challenged us to play. I mean, when I wrote it, I couldn't really play it. You know, I wrote it, and a lot of it was writing it down or figuring out the parts. And then I had these bizarre parts, and I brought them to the band, and like, how are we going to stitch all this together? And we could not play the song. And we're getting there. We have everything stitched together. So I think when people hear that one, they're going to, I hope they'll, say, okay, these guys are trying to do something a little bit
Mm.
new, but sticking to their roots. So yeah, we're really excited about this.
Fantastic, fantastic. And speaking on music videos, do you guys have some plans to come up with an official music video sometime soon?
I was thinking about that. The whole thing with that is everyone in the band has a different favorite song.
Mm.
So we all love Angel. Angel's like we call it a freight train because it just goes, and goes. I love Becky, I think because it's the latest song I wrote. Jamie is a huge fan of Who Cracked the Egg, and we can never really agree on which song is that song. So maybe with this next album, we'll do some video stuff. I think that would be really cool.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I have to speak about your the logo, which I think the words are Japanese. I'm not sure if it is Japanese or some Asian language. So how do
Yeah,
you, yeah. So
they they kanji, the Chinese actually,
yeah. Okay.
and and in Japanese they can mean a totally different thing. They can be pretty aggressive. In Japanese, it's kind of aggressive, but in kanji, um, in Chinese, the first symbol symbolizes a woman with a child,
Mm,
which typically means fondness or good, things of that nature. And the other symbol on the other side is three women, which is loudness
mm,
or noise or banter. So we always looked at the symbols as meaning good noise. Um, those symbols can also mean wickedness or I'm fond of. So it can mean like I love evil, right? Or so when you're working with characters, but once again, we were probably 17 years old, and my father traveled a lot to the Far East, and he
mm,
had brought back a magazine,
mm.
and I was looking at it. It was a travel magazine, and it said good, and this other one said noise. I said, "That's cool." Cut them out of the magazine and throw them on the side of the logo, and they've been there for like 45 years.
That's cool. That's cool. Fantastic. And Bruce, finally, any message that you have for the fans around the world?
Huh? Oh yeah. Thank you. I love it. It blows our mind when we hear from people in like Greece and Japan and Russia. It's like, wow, we're just these guys from Boston that, we're just trying to go do a cool thing. And we like I would say about 20 years ago, I got a message from a DJ down in Brazil. And he went across, we always kept the website up. And he was on the website and he contacted me and he said, listen, I have a radio show in Brazil. Do you mind if I play Angel and Victim? And I was like, have a ball with it, right? And then I'm like, wow, people are listening to the music in Brazil. Never thought about it. Got an email from him like a year later. He's like, hey, listen, we're doing a heavy metal festival. Would you like guys like to come down and play? Now this is the peak of us being dads, right? I mean, my son was like 10 years old at the time, and I'm a working guy. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He goes, no. Those people are loving those songs down here. And I'm like, at that point, they're like those songs are like 20, 25 years old, and we're dads. We're not coming to Brazil for a metal festival. And retrospect, yeah, we probably should have went down, but yeah, it is cool. That anyone that likes the music, whether they're down the street from us or in another country, I just appreciate them appreciating us and our old fans come out of the woodwork. Our old friends come out of the woodwork and support us. The guys that were in the band, our original bass player, he's down in Atlanta, Georgia now, and we've been friends since we were born. We were born across the street from each other,
Mm.
and he still supports the band. I bounce songs off of him, bounce ideas off of him. So we get a lot of support from friends and family and strangers. And I just, anyone that's watching this, thank you so much for that support.
Fantastic, Bruce. And Bruce, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you on the show. And thank you so much for the musical awesomeness and for Ride It Again. And I'm really looking forward for the new release in spring 2025 for more great awesomeness from you guys. And I wish you all the best. And hope
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you, allowing me to talk about the band. And once I can sneak a couple of tracks to you, I'll let you get the preview before others.
that will be awesome. Awesome, Bruce.
Because I would love to hear your opinion on some of the stuff.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Bruce.
right. Thank you so
Take
much.
care. Have a great evening. Bye bye.